गाइस, वेलकम टू न्यू स्ट्रीम। और एक दिन बाकी है, यानी कि कल ही बैनर आने वाला है। चलो हम पुल्स मारेंगे राइजली और वेंटी पे, बट उसके लिए थोड़ा फार्म करना पड़ेगा। स्टेलर रियूनियन अपग्रेड आया करके बोला, कुछ नया नया आ रहा करके बोले थे। अगर 2 हफ्ते के ऊपर लॉगिन नहीं किया तो सीधा चालू हो जाएगा। और क्या है, और ज़्यादा तो कुछ है नहीं, ये सब यार। भाई नोटिफिकेशन आने लग गया।
तो नोटिफिकेशन क्यों नहीं आएगा?
पहले तो नहीं आता था।
नहीं आता है, वो कोई ग्लिच रहता है, वाईटी का ही ग्लिच है वो।
हाँ, पहले नहीं आता था।
नोटिफिकेशन आता है भाई, मेरे को भी आता है।
आया है क्या?
अभी अभी नहीं आया।
नहीं, मेरे में तो क्रोम पे तो नहीं आएगा, बट मैं क्रोम खोल के देखूंगा तो मुझे मिल जाएगा।
क्या कर रहे हो आप? क्या फार्म करने बैठ गए अब?
कौन?
आप?
मैं क्या हैंग आउट कर रहा है?
का टैलेंट वाला ये रहा। यार न्यू विलेट मत दिखाओ ना दिन भाई, हद हो गई।
फ्लेक्स मार रहे हैं, फ्लेक्स मार रहे हैं
यार मैं हार गया यार, और पता है जीवन हो गई जीन मेरी। मैं जीन का क्या करूं? मैं
यार।
डेया आ
9-10
जाती,
आठ
तिनारी
नौ
जीवन हो
जीत के
जाता।
बैठा है, इतना इतना शर्म कर, 8-9 जीत के बैठा है।
हमारा भी एक ही है।
यहाँ 2 से ज्यादा अगर कभी जीत जाए ना तो चलो रिकॉर्ड नहीं, अपनी हिस्ट्री बनेगी वो। तीसरा भी जीत जाए तो।
मेरी क्या गलती है? साला मेरे को प्रॉब्लम उससे नहीं है, मैं हार गया। कोई अच्छा कैरेक्टर देते, डेया देते, कुछ देते।
यहाँ पे क्या हो गया आजकल सबको है?
पता नहीं निकला नहीं।
डेया के साथ मोनो पायरो चला सकता हूँ ना, और फिर मैं बेनेट, मेरे को एक रीजन मिल जाएगा कि भाई मैं बेनेट पीछे कर लूँ, क्योंकि मैं यूला निकालने नहीं वाला।
कर ले, मैंने तो कर दिया।
मैं कर दिया ना, मैं थोड़ी कर दूंगा अभी। जब तक मेरे को कोई अच्छा रीजन नहीं मिलेगा तब तक मैं क्यों करूँ?
मैं खरा दवाई मैया सुन लो विनती मेरी। ओह भाई, ये लेडर को जहर भाई, क्रिट विद ये थैंक। बीस तारीख को हो जाएगा यार 60।
मेरा तो अभी टाइम लगेगा।
मैंने धीरे की मैंने फिर रख नहीं किया और छोड़ा नहीं होता तो कब का हो गया होता।
हाँ, मैं तो बहुत टाइम तक के लिए छोड़ दिया था, बीच में 6-7 महीने तो ऐसे
कोई
ही
ना
छोड़ा था।
भाई।
तुमने भी तो नहीं करा ना सालों ने, डेली ही कर देते सालों, बस इतना ही सही हो
खुद का
जाता।
ही नहीं किया, मैं क्या होता था, कब का पहुंच गया था।
इवेंट्स तो
ब्रेक
सब
था, बहुत लंबे लंबे ब्रेक मारे मैंने। एक डेढ़ महीने बीच में, फिर हफ्ते हफ्ते 3 दिन 4 दिन, मतलब ऐसा इग्नोर किया। बट फाइनली सारे कैरेक्टर 80-90 कर दूं क्या?
कर दे।
देखने में खुशी होती।
उसे मार रहे 80-90 क्या आर्टिफैक्ट देगा वो सोचेगा।
नहीं 70-80 तो करके बैठ गया वो।
तो
मैं
वो
तेरे को
करेगा ना
मिनिमम
इनफैक्ट तो वो
8 कैरेक्टर्स बिल्ड करना है मिनिमम।
भाई मिनिमम नहीं 12 सॉरी 24-30 कैरेक्टर बिल्ड है।
ओ हेलो
टैलेंट्स अभी तो यहाँ से छोड़ दो।
82,000 दिया ना ब्रेक।
निको का टैलेंट कर दूं कितना 888 या 999 नहीं 699 कर देता हूँ।
रुक जा थोड़ा टेस्टिंग के लिए तुम लोग का वर्ल्ड पे आया मैं। वो नहीं मेरे को वो फार्म करना है क्या तुम लोग के इसमें 3 बॉस मटेरियल ड्रॉप हो रहे हैं या 2 ड्रॉप हो रहे
अभी मेरे में जस्ट मैंने मारा है तो आपको 2 ही मिलेगा, लेकिन अभी जस्ट मेरे को 3 मिला है तो गारंटी कर नहीं सकता हूँ।
हैं। वक्त बदल दिया 10 बहुत बदलते हैं।
अभी 2 बार मेरे को 3-3 मिला बैक टू बैक, तो अब मेरे को 2 का चांसेस लग रहा है, बट कुछ कह नहीं सकते क्योंकि प्लेयर चेंज हो तो आपको मिल सकता है।
बोल दे सीधा मुंह पे नहीं मिल रहा।
आ जाओ आ जाओ आ जाओ आ जाओ, वो तो लक के ऊपर है ना क्या मिलना चाहिए।
इतनी ज्यादा ब्रोकन टीम है ना फुटाओ के लिए। डबल हाइड्रो
उठाओ के लिए हाँ, डबल एचपी भाई खत्म, सिंची एलन
पता है
दोनों घुसा।
सुनो
यस यस
मैं अभी आई थिंक सो जो थर्ड चेंबर था ना, जब मैं थर्ड चेंबर कर रहा था फुल फ्लोर 12 का, भाई साहब 50 सेकंड बचे, 50 सेकंड। और जब मैंने उसे मार दिया ना, पता है कितना टाइम बचा हुआ था? जब मैंने वो यूएफओ को मार दिया तो मेरा 20 मतलब 10 सेकंड बचे हुए थे, ठीक है। 7:10 पे मैंने उसे खत्म कर दिया था यूएफओ को।
सिर्फ 10 सेकंड बाकी था।
10 सेकंड बाकी था और 50 सेकंड पे शुरू किया था, 40 सेकंड में खत्म कर दिया मैंने उसे।
ओए सो राजा
इस पे
भाई साहब
यूएफओ
ऐसी तैसी कर दी बिल्कुल ही। भाई जो जो तो डैमेज मिला है मुझे, ओ शिट
उनका सीसी पेंटिंग अनलॉक
बहुत गंदा।
पहला रख लेते हैं, नहीं खाते
अब आई हैव वन चॉइस। ये भी नहीं कर सकता, ठीक है यार काम करना पड़ेगा यार, ये कर नहीं पाता।
देते 3 देता। भाई बैन मारो इसका वर्ल्ड बैन मारो।
मैंने बोला ना
नहीं
बैक
खेल
टू
रहा
बैक
है
मारा था।
नहीं खेल रहा है इसका वर्ल्ड बैन
एक का नुकसान
नुकसान करता है। असर
तो
रिवॉर्ड पे देखते हैं।
नहीं 2 का मतलब हुआ कि 100 रेजिन का नुकसान हुआ ना, उस हिसाब से क्योंकि चाहिए था 3, तो अब एक पुराने के लिए आपको 100 रेजिन के पीछे भागना।
अगर अगला 2 अगर 3-3 मिल जाए तो बहुत
बैक टू बैक 3-3 चाहिए तो होल्ड कर करके लाइक लॉन्ग ब्रेक में मारो।
यूएफओ हो जा। इधर आ जाओ।
आपके पास ही हूँ बस।
ए बैन मारो भाई असर गोल्ड भी। हाँ दुख दोगे भाई तुम दोनों भाई। भाई बर्बाद 200 रीजन का बर्बाद दिया।
मेरी थोड़ी गलती है।
तेरी थोड़ी गलती है। खुद का वर्ल्ड
ऑलरेडी खुद का शर्म आती है।
नया वीक है ना।
लेवल 5 है।
खुद का वर्ल्ड भी बेकार है भाई बैन मारो।
खुद का वर्ल्ड ठीक है।
एपिक मोमेंट। क्रिस्टल फ्लाई ट्रैप जाना पड़ेगा। कितना हो गया मेरे पास 22 हो गया और कितना चाहिए।
कितना 3 लाख का बोनस। What the fuck? Billy Joel, Billy Joel, Billy, Billy Joel.
与湖中的
ठीक है भाई. Photo manifesting in me. ये भी कोई काम का नहीं है. ड्रैगन बेकार बुक. भाई 25 कैसे जगह ले रहा है ये? व्हाट द फक भाई. एक पैका पक. हेलो पैका डुअल भी कुछ भी चल रहा है इस गेम में. कुछ भी चल रहा है. सीरियसली कुछ भी चल रहा है यहाँ पे. मार्कियाँ मार्कियाँ कुछ भी. एवरीथिंग इज हैपनिंग मैन. वेंचर आपको मारेंगे. चलिए चुप रहे.
I need what? I need that.
बात ये है ना बात. चलिए 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 चलिए. चलिए 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 भाई. 5 लेवल का. क्या हो गया भाई? मारो 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 मारो. ड्रैगन को खत्म करो. चलो ये नाइस.
Now what?
भाई 6 लेवल का पैका एक हिट में एक लेवल 4 की मोर्टार को खत्म कर दे रहा है. वाह वाह. पावर पावर क्रीप करो इधर. नरसिम कोई और अच्छा कैरेक्टर ला. और अच्छा वेब बोला वो आर्मर वाले भाई. क्या चल रहा है?
Have to go to Sumeru.
भाई
क्या पता नहीं.
हैंग आउट क्वेस्ट. मैं तो अभी भी नहीं निकाल. मेरा काइंड में पुल मार रहा हूँ. बुलेट से जैसे जैसे निकल रहे हैं मेरा. पर मन नहीं है.
सूर निकालने से तो निकाल देगा आज के आज. असुर
पागल है.
क्या बात है AFK?
बोलो ना बोलो.
क्या बोलूं?
I've taken a look at your proposal.
आप मेरी आवाज सुन पा रहे हो?
It's much better than the ones you showed me before.
AFK शायद
But
उसुर.
I'd still like to make some
3
changes.
लाख का बोनस मिलेगा.
Come on, not again. Isn't this the 6th proposal I've shown you? What's your issue this?
It's a bit hard to put into words.
और कितना मिला?
But the
3.5
design
लाख का
still
बोनस.
doesn't look quite right to me.
I have to say, that's a terribly vague and
चलो भाई
unconvincing
मेरे 2 अटैक फुल
explanation.
100%.
Please enlighten me. What would feel more right to you?
लेफ्ट बोलेगा
For
अभी.
starters,
Okay, left
don't you
corner,
think
left
this
corner.
roof is jutting out a bit too far from the top? It
Follow.
looks almost like the head of a fungus. This door, too. I don't think it needs to be
ओवर
nearly
एस
this
करा दे यार
large.
मेरा.
If you could reduce it to around my height,
खेलने आ
you
जा.
could use the leftover
हो जाएगा मेरा.
materials to construct a few more rooms.
The roof and the door are the most fundamental parts of a building. If we were to change them, then what would be left of the design? Even if the soul of the building won't be lost, all traces of architectural style would be gone. Anyone with the slightest inkling of architectural knowledge would know to leave them alone.
Oh, I understand the principles of what you are saying, of course, but the truth
1.5
remains that
million का
I'm
air
still a
paper
bit
का
unhappy with the design
air
as
paper वाला
is. Is there anything else that you can do? Oh, actually, I just got an idea. Can we get rid of all the extraneous sections on the roof. So the whole design will just be one vertical structure, similar to that of a tree.
What?
Don't architects often say that symmetry makes everything more balanced and pleasing to the eye? This way, the proportions will be completely balanced.
I really don't know how you managed to come up with such a ridiculous idea. Wait, don't tell me. Someone hired you specifically to commission me and put me through the ringer? Come to think of it, though, I really don't think I've gotten on anyone's bad side recently. Anyway, that's it. I will not be working on this commission anymore. Goodbye. Maybe you can find yourself some other genius who'll be able to satisfy your demands.
Hey, young man, please wait!
तेरे का फेवरेट डिश है ना मॉन्स्टर हैश ब्राउन
Taking this commission was truly the worst decision ever. Oh, hey, I wasn't expecting to run into you here.
मैं
Actually,
आपको
while
बताऊं
we're on
भाई
that,
सबसे
what are
बेस्ट
you
अगर
doing
कल
here at
मुझे
the
कहीं का
tavern?
सेव पॉइंट लगा ना
Don't listen to anyone who says
एक
that
सेकंड,
drinking
एक
is an elegant pastime.
है
It's no good
क्या
for
हुआ?
your health.
पता क्या हुआ
मैं कह रहा हूँ अगर मुझे कहीं का सबसे बेस्ट सेव पॉइंट लगा ना
हाँ
तो पता है कहाँ पे लगा
हाँ
फाउंटेन क्यों
बाजू में तो कमिशन ये
बाजू में ही कमीशन और दो उसके
अरे
साइड
सेम
में
फॉर इनाजुमा आल्सो
नहीं सेम में इनाजुमा बेकार
इनाजुमा
पड़ता है।
बेकार जापान है भाई कहाँ चढ़
सीढ़ियाँ चढ़नी पड़ती है ना
वाह
So you saw that, did you?
299
Ugh, I thought I was in the clear.
210
I made sure to double check that nobody I knew was around. Anyway, thanks for looking out for
ओवर
me.
एक्टिंग के पैसे काट लो
Honestly, it wasn't that big of a
खावे
deal.
देखो
I'm used to it by
मेरे
now.
को भी
Stress is just an
bye,
inescapable
मेरा
part
हो
of
गया।
अरे
being a
इंस्टाग्राम पे
working
जा रहा हूँ
adult.
मुजरा करने फॉलोअर्स बहुत
Boss?
मिलते हैं
I'll have a glass of wine, same as last time. Do you want something too?
कौन सा है
I'll
अच्छा
put it on my tab.
तो फेमस मिल रहे हैं
No, do you know
Wine
anything
and
about
a glass
trading?
of juice coming right up.
Trading?
Do you even know anything about getting fucked in the
I
head?
know you're already keeping a secret from
लाइव
me,
तो इतने अच्छा है कि
but if
पहले
you
से
could add
वीडियोस
this
पे
one to the
360
list as well, I'd really appreciate it. Arguing with a
ट्रेडिंग कहाँ
client
से
is not a
सीखी
good
तूने
look for
कहाँ
me.
सीख रहा है तो ट्रेडिंग
If word gets out,
यूट्यूब मल्टीपल
other
यूट्यूबर
potential
से
clients
सीखो
might be afraid
और
to work
खुद
with
एक
me.
अपने आप को
Guy,
बनाओ
though, what was he even going on
चल
about?
यार
Are those
ये
ridiculous
साल 1.5 साल
demands of
लग ही
his?
जाएंगे
He's just a blabbering fool trying to act
क्या
like
हो
a
गया?
know-it-all.
क्या
Another glass, please, boss. I'm not leaving today till someone has to carry me out.
You've got it, sir. I gotta say, though, it almost feels like you're saying that every other day now.
It really is every other day that you'd run into a client who knows nothing about construction requirements or architectural style. If this was in the past, I'd never have gone through 6 whole drafts trying to accommodate the client's
गूगल
preferences.
पिक्सल 8
But perhaps getting used to this just means that I've grown numb to it. I've worked on so many projects since graduation, and none of them have been approved at the first pass. I would spend a lot of time altering my designs, and by the time the clients were finally satisfied, all my passion and enthusiasm would be gone. It feels like I'm straying further and further from my artistic vision with every change I have to make. I suppose, though, that just sticking to your guns and completely disregarding other people's feedback would also not be a good thing. All of this makes for a real paradox, one that particularly crops up in my work, too. In the end, what is the true meaning of art? Should I see it as a divine gift of inspiration from the gods? Or an expression of the light of my own wisdom?
Here's your drink. How are you already spouting nonsense after just one glass? Your tolerance is usually much better than that.
Boss, what do you think is the meaning of art?
The meaning of art? Really, my friend, who in Sumeru understands
यार ये
art
ऐसी
better
जगहों पे
than
क्यों
you?
जाते हैं मुझे समझ नहीं
Anyway,
आता
I
ये
don't know about
ऐसी
art,
जगहों
but
पे
I
जाके
do
क्वेस्ट क्यों आता है
know
जहाँ पे
that I'm
पैदल चलना होता
interested
है
in
हमें
business, and
तुम
some
टेलीपोर्टर के पास
patrons
नहीं आ
are
सकते
waiting to be served. So, you'll have to excuse me for
अब तो भी
now.
फालतू में भगाते
Just
हैं कुत्ते
holler if you need anything.
What do you think,
ये
traveler?
देखो ये आ गया कुत्ता पीछे स्ट्रीम
Exactly.
पे कौन आया है
So our thoughts on the meaning of art are rather similar. In Sumeru, and especially Sumeru of the past, the arts are not a popular discussion topic. Trying to talk about the arts is basically the key to killing any conversation. It's too bad that I'm not in my best form today.
इवेंट कर लो ना यहाँ का
Otherwise, we could have talked about this for a little longer.
कौन सा फ्लैगशिप इवेंट अभी नहीं करेगा एग्जाम खत्म होगा ना तो उसकी पूरा क्वेस्ट करेगा ना मैं पढ़ के
ठीक है मैं तब तक वीडियो देखो सीखो
Hmm? Thanks for offering, but you've seen how he is. He's not going to listen to anything. He understands nothing about my design. And all the suggestions he made were as if he just wanted to mock me. You mean, if I managed to get him to see things my way, then this project would also gain recognition from many people? You've got a point. Let's hear him out one more time. Time to get going. I know where we'd be able to find the guy. There's no time to waste. The wine can wait until another time. I'll go take care of the bill.
Be honored if you joined us.
I admire her humility. It is a sign of true wisdom. With the power she holds, Buer is capable of doing many things beyond our wildest imaginations. And yet, she uses her power only to right wrongs and to protect. She is a truly gentle god.
As well as ruling over all of Sumeru, the god of wisdom Buer has a duty to guard Irminsul. Only one who possesses great wisdom could hope to shoulder these responsibilities. All life in Tevat owes her gratitude for saving Irminsul.
अभी तक आर्कॉन वॉइस लाइन नहीं आया है
आर्कॉन वॉइस लाइन मतलब
इसके ऊपर फुल सोलर के ऊपर आर्कॉन की इस बात में बात करते ना
अच्छा आर्कॉन के बारे में बात करता है
हाँ
आप चैट देख भी रहे हो कि नहीं
मैं देखा Dennis laughing for some reason What?
Kaveh, what are you doing here?
I've changed my mind. I was overreacting earlier. Can we try discussing the project some more?
My apologies as well. Now that I think about it, some of my requests were indeed a bit unreasonable. If I choose you to create the design for my project, I should have a bit more faith in your vision.
Thank you for understanding. Mutual trust is the basis for good communication. Now that we've got that out of the way, I think we can have a more productive conversation. To be perfectly honest, Your commission request has been the most peculiar one I've ever received. Even now, I still know nothing about the building's intended purpose. All I know is that you want to build something in the desert for public use. I am aware that overly specific requests will restrain the architect's artistic freedom. However, knowing nothing about the intended purpose of the building also means I have no idea if I'm on the right track.
ओहो सुमेरु का गाना जो kick in हो रहा है.
I've produced several draft proposals for you to choose from, and you've rejected every single one. If we don't get on the same page, it could be a decade before we can finally break ground on this project.
Yes, I've given this some thought already. I think we can go with the general direction of the latest proposal that you just showed me. It's just...
Just what?
Putting the building design aside, can we get some less expensive materials for the floor tiles? Yeah, I know someone in the business, and the red bricks he sells can go for pretty cheap. The timber here as well. We should be able to find some substitutes.
Please give me a moment. My head's starting to hurt again. Just please hold on for a second. So, let me get this straight. You want to reduce the cost of the project, right? But if we implement your suggestions, then I'm afraid we have to scrap the entire design. Architectural design cannot be neatly split into discrete parts. Any change to one part of the design will affect the quality of the whole thing. I decided to utilize high-end timber for this section because the weight-bearing structure requires the supporting materials to be durable and strong. Same with the tiles. Switch them out and the entire mural will have to be redesigned. More importantly, if we make such a change, both its practical functionality and aesthetic value will take a great hit. If all you need is a building with a roof that can keep people dry in the rain, you shouldn't have commissioned me. Many architects would be able to build you one of those while charging far less in commission fees.
Actually, please tell me, are you absolutely sure that there's no room for any changes in this draft of the design?
I think the most important thing for me is to understand what you would actually like to get. If you could tell me more about your vision, I might be able to work with the design some more. You are the client, after all. You should have the final say on how the project turns out.
I want to build something unique. Something quiet and warm inside. A refuge that can block out the world outside. I want all who enter this building to be able to temporarily forget everything that's going on outside of the building and just focus on their task at hand.
That's a bit more information than last time, but it's still extremely vague. To put it another way, every rich person who wants to build a mansion for themselves would request something like this. We've gone through many proposals, and this draft is already the cheapest one. Cutting costs by substituting building materials will not only detract from the overall effect of the building, it also won't save you much more in the grand scheme of things.
Thank you for giving it so much thought. Please, give me some more time to mull over the budget. I'll get back to you once I've figured out a solution. I still have a few business meetings that I must attend, so I'm afraid I'll have to leave for now. You can just leave the proposal as is. I'll get in touch once I've given it some more thought.
I also had a similar feeling.
और बैठे
Is that really okay? I mean, what he does now is none of our business. He does seem really suspicious, though. He dresses like a rich person, but when you talk to him, he hardly sounds the part. That's actually pretty common. Not all rich people are spendthrifts. Many are just, as if not more, stingy than him. The more mora some people have, the more they love interfering with people's lives. By constantly paying back your debts, or hinting every other day it's time for... Actually, now that I think about it, I'm not even sure this person really wants to work on this project with me. Putting his vague requests aside, he's still finding excuses to procrastinate even when we've decided on a plan.
कर क्या रहा है? तुम्हें समझ
Who
नहीं आ रहा
knows
तेरा
how
ये
long
क्या
construction will take if he keeps
बैकग्राउंड साउंड
delaying
क्या आ रहा है?
things like
बैकग्राउंड नॉइज
this.
क्या आ रहा है तेरा ये?
We should find him again and get some clearer answers.
फोन पे हूँ ना
The sooner we...
कौन से क्यों है तू? नीचे कहाँ है? नीचे कहाँ है?
Huh?
मैं तो मैसेज उसके लिए है
Where
मेरे
did he
पास।
go? I could have sworn he went this way.
रिचार्ज खत्म हो गया फिर अब
क्या कराओ ना अभी।
अब करवाएंगे तो।
Hey, look!
चाचा कह रहा है।
Isn't that Badawi? It sure looks
चाचा
like
क्या?
him. He's dressed completely
चाचा
different now.
Didn't I tell you before? I'm not looking for more workers. Plus, aren't you a bit old for physical labor? If something happens to you, I won't be able to pay for it.
Oh, you won't have to worry about that. I grew up as an Eremite mercenary and worked in the desert my entire life. My body's still in great shape. I don't have many talents, but I still have my muscle. If you need someone to unload goods or drive away sumpter beasts...
You used to be an Eremite mercenary?
I know there are a lot of bad apples in our ranks, but most are just trying to make a living. We're not that greedy by nature, and we'll do our best when given a job.
I'm sorry, but I still can't take you in. I don't have any open positions right now, and don't have the Mora for anything more. How about this? Why don't you try your luck somewhere else?
Okay.
ये
He
बस
used to
खत्म
be
हो
a
फिर
member
मैं
of the
तब तक मेरा
Eremites?
लैपटॉप वापस जाके।
Huh. From the way he was dressed, I would have thought he was a merchant from the rainforest. We meet again.
Huh?
That's what we wanted to ask you. Who are you? Why did you dress up like a merchant to talk to me about... There's no need for us to continue this project if you still want to keep hiding things from us. I don't work with individuals I can't trust.
Believe me, I didn't have any bad intentions. It's just... All right, there's no point hiding anything anymore. The building I'm trying to commission you for is not...
A library? Funded entirely by yourself? Shouldn't this be the responsibility of the academia? I've heard that the academia will be looking to prioritize the desert with the allocation of educational resources and materials. It sent over a large shipment of regular goods just last month.
You're right. And I was aware of these happenings as well. I just figured what I want to do is a separate effort from what's already being done by the academia. The desert is too vast. Even if the academia spends a lot of effort trying to disseminate knowledge in those parts, it might still take decades, if not centuries, to reduce the educational gap that already exists between the two regions. And what's more, I don't know if the academia would ever reverse its stance in the future. All I know is that as a desert dweller, we should not wait passively for good things to happen to us. If we only did that, we'd never be able to stand up and hold our heads high. I don't have much longer left on this world, so I just want to use whatever time I have to contribute something to my homeland. I didn't want you to know that I came from the desert. I've lived in the desert my entire life, and there wasn't anyone here that I could trust. I figured I needed as much...
To the point that you even disguised your identity?
That's
certainly taking playing it safe to the next level. Hold on. Don't tell me you've also been scammed before.
When I first came to Sumeru City, I brought a lot of Mora, hoping to find an architect that I could work with. Someone agreed to take on the project, and even took a sum of Mora from me, but then disappeared without a trace. After that, I heard that there are a lot of untrustworthy people in this business.
आपने पहले ही
Some
मार्केट
would
को सीधा
run
भगाया
as soon
होता
as
तो
they've
ऐसे
been paid, while
रेट थोड़ी ना
others would
जाता
deliberately
साइडवेज
use
मार्केट चल
expensive
रहा है पूरा
materials
नॉन
to take a
प्रॉफिट
cut of the construction funding.
आज
I spent
मार्केट
a
में
while
मंदा आपने ला
collecting
दिया
information in the city,
मार्केट में
and eventually
हाँ मंदी
learned
ला दी
that
आपने
you're the most
वाह
famous architect in all of Sumeru.
धंधा आज
I
मेरा बंद हो
figured
गया
that, by the way,
लैब पर क्यों कर रहे हो तो
how
कुछ
did you
भी
know I was scammed? I don't
तो
think
मैं
I've ever
वीडियोस
mentioned
देखने
that
दो
to anybody.
Just a hunch.
और दरवाजे
A
क्या
while
बोलते
ago,
हैं
I
दरवाजे तो
accepted an offer to work on a project in the desert, and was also
final
scammed out of a
luck.
large sum of Mora. I ran into someone who was living in a pretty run-down house. I noticed a load-bearing wall on the verge of collapse and suggested that I build a new house for him. He said that he had no way to pay for it, so I loaned him some of my own mora and told him to get some stone and timber from the local vendors. Soon after that, I found out that he had gone gambling with all the money, and after that, he even borrowed mora from me twice more, using a different excuse each time. I didn't even suspect him of any wrongdoing until he hired a group of mercenaries and tried to ambush me in his own house. According to him, I looked like an easy target because I was an academia scholar who didn't have any family or friends in the desert. What kind of person would just look at someone else and think, this guy looks like an easy target?
Those kinds of things do happen every once in a while, yes. Folks like him are the exact reason why us desert dwellers' reputation have gone down the drain. I must...
It's all right. You were also scammed by someone from Kasharwar after all. Ultimately, neither of our experiences had anything to do with the desert or the rainforest. People who are new to an area are always easy targets for criminals. Yeah, you'll find both good and bad people everywhere. I can't understand the logic of those who like to take advantage of others, but I have to accept their existence as a fact of life. Anyway, I digress. Let's return to the topic at hand. Did you keep rejecting my designs because you thought I was deliberately using expensive materials to take a cut as a middleman?
That's what I was afraid of initially, yes. I eventually understood that you weren't out to cheat. I've done the math and know that we should be able to make it if we cut some corners. However, after our conversations, I can see that you're passionate about... So, I decided to try and see if I can afford your proposal as is. I've been looking for work every day, and in another month...
By cobbled together, you mean you're going to spend your entire life savings on this project? But then, what will you do if something unexpected comes up, and you find yourself stuck with no emergency fund?
To be honest, I haven't really thought about that. I mean, when you've lived to be my age and something happens, you can't really... All I want is to build this library before I leave this world, so that the children of the future would have some books to read. A while ago, I heard that the academia had decided to recruit a number of exceptional children from the desert. Of course, I know the desert life and can predict what the problems will be. So even if the academia would take them in, once they enter the halls, they might find themselves surrounded by other children who look and act very differently from...
Yes, I can imagine that. My father passed away at an early age. Even though I had a good number of friends during my years at the academia, I'm sure a child coming all the way from the desert will have an even harder time. But let's bring this back to the building itself. I think you said that you want this building to be quiet and warm. Building it according to the current plan will be quite costly. Even if I don't charge you any commission fees, I don't... Any idea? A slightly different style. Give me a minute. Most architects would probably prioritize cutting costs and removing extra features in this situation. Indeed, converting the building into a simple bungalow would solve most of our problems. However, I do not think this would be the best solution. While it's true that the aesthetic value of a building is often viewed as an afterthought, neglecting it has some long-term negative consequences. It is especially undesirable in this situation, as the library will serve a high number of children, many of whom would have never been exposed to structure. To completely give up on the more aesthetic design would mean stripping the children. However, if we can reduce the ornate aspects of the design while maintaining its fundamental elegance, which is to say to make up for the loss of regular details, we would need to put a lot of extra effort into the layout.
I see. Would that really be okay?
It just increases the difficulty of the design. You should feel lucky that out of all the architects in the city, you chose. As for inspiration, I think I might have something in mind, but I'd need to visit the site to make sure.
Aru Village. Although it wasn't my childhood...
Okay, then we can pay a visit to Aru Village.
Is there something I can do for you? I've already caused you a lot of trouble before, and now you're revising the design again.
Let me think. You said you used to be an Eremite mercenary, right? We want to keep the roads clear. and reduce the loss of materials during transport to a minimum. If everything goes well, that'll help.
All right, just leave it to me. If there's anything I'm good at, it's clearing out monsters.
What are you waiting for then? Let's pack up and get ready to go.
Aru village जाना है.
Silence!
Where is Aru village?
Most materials going from Caravan Rebat to Aruville. There are a lot of monsters.
Oh, don't worry about me. This is nothing. I'll be careful, though, and you should do...
Scanning. Settle down. Come at me. Scanning.
I'm fine. I've spent my entire life fighting these kinds of monsters in the desert, but it's one thing to fight against monsters, and another to fight against an old injury. It's something I picked up when I was young. There were many fights between mercenaries. I don't think much of it back then, but with age, few mercenaries get to enjoy their later years. Failing...
Is there someone you know who can help to look after you?
Unfortunately, no. My wife passed away. Sometimes I'd close my eyes and realize most of my life story has already been written. I joined the Eremites when I was young and won many battles with them. My survival was more a matter of luck than actual ability, if at all possible. I want future children of the desert to have some more options in life. My apologies. The older we get, the more we...
I think it's really admirable of him to spend his... Maybe he's doing this out of natural kindness. A kindness that hasn't been eroded... Perhaps. Some people call me an idealist. I do have... But my situation is more complex than that. When I was young, I impulsively encouraged my father to take part in the first Inter-Darshan Championship. He set off confidently hoping to win something. I never saw him again. Word has it that he got caught in quicksand. I started doing many things in life because I wanted to make amends. Even in cases where I couldn't do something for a specific person, I still did whatever I could. I think I just wanted to make myself feel a little... At this point, I've tried self-reflection, but it didn't help. I can't seem to walk away from many things that I see or hear about, even if they don't directly concern me. And I can't quite pinpoint the source of it. Maybe it's just like what those Vahumana scholars often say. I could be doing things out of endless guilt, or I could be doing them out of a strong sense of empathy. It could even just be a matter of conceit. The potential motivations could number in the dozens, but the actions they result in are the same. Anyway, I suppose I don't really mind being called an idealist. They also use that term to describe my father. I've known Alhaitham for many years now, and discussed my ideology with him for nearly as long. Maybe argued is a better word for it. He told me a long time ago that no matter how strong of a swimmer you may be, you'll still get dragged under by the others who are drowning once you run out of stamina. I still believe I should live by my ideals, and I've given him countless reasons why I think it's a good idea to do so. Perhaps my ideals are flawed, but unfortunately, as you can see, I'm not the only idealist in the world. Just as there are different seasons, there are also... And when I finally... Someone will help me, right? But you've helped me plenty already. If you didn't reach out to me, I would probably be... Either way, I'm feeling much better than when you first found me at the tavern. I can feel it. All right.
निकाल लेगा.
क्या निकाल लूँगा? नेट?
नीट रे. अरे.
नीट पता नहीं भाई.
मुझे डर लग रहा है.
मुझे खुद नहीं पता फिर.
ये भी निकाल पाएगा. नहीं निकालेगा तो घर वाले से पिटेगा. निकाल लेगा.
नहीं पिटूंगा तो नहीं.
पिटेगा ऑब्वियसली. क्यों नहीं पिटेगा?
नहीं नहीं.
What options do you have? हैं?
नहीं I told you ना that I पिटूंगा नहीं.
Slate me like मैं पेट लगा देगा.
इतना है तो सुनेगा ये. उड़ाएगा.
बस यही बोलेंगे कि भाई तू पढ़ता नहीं है, पढ़ने का नतीजा था ये. और तो कुछ बोलेंगे तो आप कर ले अगली बार.
वो तो है भाई, उसी को समझ लेना. Reading code
here, it's my partner's.
Oh, what's
my toolbox? I built it using an ancient mechanical core. It's not too smart. I'll take Marak and find a suitable location for the building.
Traveler?
Ah, you know each other?
Hello. I suppose you must be Kaveh from Kasharawar. I've heard of you before. My name is Sataria, and I'm currently the person in charge of promoting educational assistance programs here.
Educational assistance programs.
I can't say I'm too familiar,
I've been commissioned by Mr. Badawi to build a library in the desert. We've settled on the general design.
A library?
That's right. I want to make sure...
That's fantastic! I'm sure the children will be thrilled. Right now, we don't have access...
Let me get straight to my questions. Oh, and have any landslides occurred?
मैं कैसे घर में बैठा हूँ?
All right. Badawi, let's go over the budget again. We'll keep the building structure. The parts of the project that cost the most will be the insulation and ventilation material. I want to make significant changes to the arrangement of the... Our final cost should be around 70% of the last... Marak has produced a sketch for all of you to see. If ever... The inspiration just came to me naturally. I must give you credit, though. If it weren't for your advice and suggestions, according to the traditions of my profession, I should probably name this style after you.
सिंचू कितने टाइम बाद फिक्स हुआ? पहला सिंचू मिला था मुझे
In the meantime,
1.5 साल पहले.
let's look forward to the day when this...
हाँ 1.5 साल पहले मिला था. Second lantern right.
कितना टाइम हो गया खेलते हुए?
1 साल हो गया मतलब 1 साल हो गया. तीसरा lantern right है ना तो 3 साल हो गए.
तो बोल रहा कितना टाइम खेलते हुए?
नहीं हमें हो गया 2.5 साल के करीब हो गया.
हाँ 2.5 साल हो गया. 3 साल होने वाला है.
3 साल होने वाला.
डार्क साइड के भाई.
आदि गेम वो चल रहा है क्या? अभी जो मैं मैं ही देख लेता हूँ.
नहीं चल रहा भाई, नहीं चल रहा. मैं नेट भी नहीं है भाई, मैं अपडेट भी नहीं कर सकता. गरीब बनना होता है भाई साहब. तो ये पढ़ा रहे हैं ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम, मेरा दिमाग खराब हो रहा है लिटरली इतना.
Slate having fun.
हाँ भाई कल जो बैनर आएगा कल उसके लिए भी तो अपडेट करना पड़ेगा.
We meet again. There's no...
Believe me.
Library. I've heard that the academy...
You're right. The desert is too... And what's all I know? I don't have much longer left on this. I didn't want
to the point that you...
When someone agreed. After that, I spent a while the other way.
Just, I ran into some... He said that he... And after that, according to...
Those kinds of...
Ultimately, neither of our... Yeah, anyway...
That's what I've done the math, so... To be honest, all I want is to build this. A while ago, I know the debt, so even if...
My father passed, I'm sure a child... But let's break building it a... Sponsor the... That does make sense. What do you think?
It's all fine with me.
Well... You're right. Her? Hard pass. With her shrewd and greedy personality, she would never put Mora into something... now there's an idea. She probably won't say no. Let's go and pay her...
बोलने का हक ही नहीं रखता है. किस्मत जितना चला है ना उतना मेरा चल जाता तो अभी कहाँ रहता मैं। ऑर्डर 1200 का ऑर्डर। ये एचपी बढ़ गई है, मेरा डैमेज कम हो गया।
Oh, now here is some When I saw Kave, I almost thought it must be that time of month again.
Hey, can't you think of something else for a change? You are literally living in an objet d'art, and yet your mind is... What is the point of wealth, anyway?
That's exactly right. Well, if you ask me, this...
You're hopeless.
Oh, so you have an actual reason to... Merchants? Oh, I see.
I knew you wouldn't be interested in something like this.
Sure, I can connect you with some folks.
A fee?
Of course, making introduction. Since we've known each other for so long, though, I'll give you
500,000? I guess that's okay. Besides, by helping us out, you'd be...
Three of my business partners came by earlier today to discuss some things with me, and they stopped.
Thank you, Steve.
You can wait here. I'll bring them over to you.
थोड़ा पैसा आएगा तो पहले अपने लिए बचा कर एक अपना G2 ले ले।
हाँ भाई मेरे दोस्त ने भी ले लिया 2060 सुपर।
Dory gave us to be
तो
frank.
All right, here's the...
So it's...
Correct.
Then the commission fees will like...
I'm not too concerned about how much I'll get for the commission
Middle
fees.
class
So what? Besides, what does a lot...
Hey, there's no need to be so
Middle class ना
harsh.
भी जानते हैं।
They are Dory's associates after all.
क्या middle class?
Here. So we'd mostly be...
Well,
हो
just
गया।
speaking from... I also have...
Then how about this?
क्या ही बोलूँ?
Wouldn't that just cost
क्या नहीं
more?
पता
Yes.
बोलेगा तो सुनाई तो देगा
But
तो
in
ना
that...
I'll just
Middle
give an
class?
example. If we were to build a whole suite of buildings,
Middle
we'll be
class
able
के
to
दुख
host
जानता है,
more...
ये बोलोगे
I've
क्या?
been to the desert several times.
Education in the desert is indeed an industry that has... And you just...
Even the greenest amateurs know that urban...
You...
Hey, why are you starting...
Wait, something just occurred to me. If we're... But it seems we're not the only...
What?
What?
In other words, if we try to if we want to build a suite of buildings focused on education and culture...
Then there's no hurry. We can wait for Aru Village to develop more first.
But...
Is there nothing else to discuss? Great. I'll be off as well. If you...
It seems like the others are not interested in funding this, so no point in me doing this on...
Hey, guys, what... Well, what can I say? Yeah, it's just another day. Looks like we'll have to figure out some other way to...
Okay, second.
How did the meeting go? Want to talk about it? Oh?
Please don't tell me that you're here.
What kind of person do you? You can try to talk up the...
But this isn't just a bit... Also, if you already knew no one would want to partner with us, why did you...
You might want to remember who...
I'll pay back every last coin that I still owe you.
All right, since you're... In fact...
What? So... Where...
Follow me.
लग रहा मैं ये
Oh,
event भी
I
नहीं कर
suppose
पाऊंगा।
both of you can come.
Hey. Hello. Hello.
ऑडियो में क्या? म्यूट है ना?
बड़े लोग हैं, म्यूट में हो जाते हैं। ऐसा वॉइस बढ़ा लूँ अपना। अब ठीक आ रही है वॉइस?
एकदम बढ़िया।
ठीक है। कचेरी जगह में डील लिया छी।
You said you're going to introduce us to the most famous...
बेकार जगह ली हुई है।
Still don't get it, huh? The most famous...
Huh? So you meant yourself?
Well, I've given it some thought, and it'll be a pretty big Mora sink, and I'll have to fund it all on my own. But that's not...
Seriously? Where's this generosity coming from so suddenly?
The reasons are not important. However, you know just as well as me that once this project actually breaks ground, it'll start sucking Mora from my pockets like crazy.
I get it, I get it. I won't charge any commission.
Splendid!
This way, the children of the desert will have some books to read. Of course, there are a few things better than using my knowledge to help. I must thank you as well, Dory. I used to say you only cared about Mora, which might have been some Now, let's have a quick discussion. Where would you want the library to...
There's no rush. I'll provide you with a copy of the deed when we get...
Huh? The deed? So hold on a sec. The person who
हाँ,
has
लोग
been
कितना
buying
checks
up
कर रहा है वो
everything
यहाँ
around
पे।
Aru village was you all...
Oh my, did I not tell you about that? Yep, yours truly. So, from my perspective, this has been a...
But what about my commission fees?
Huh? Didn't you waive those yourself? I was just gonna say that to Kakas. But before I could finish my sentence, you've all...
It's obvious that you used every trick in the book to deceive me. You deliberately
Huh? You really think so? Well, the contract's already been signed, so...
Fine. I'll drop the argument on the commission fees. I'm going to order the best dishes and booze this place has to offer.
I'll ever be able to create something so incredible.
हाँ ना यार थोड़ा जल्दी
Taking this commission was truly the worst decision ever. Actually, while we're on that...
फिजिकली वही में बना सकते हैं
So you saw that, did you? Anyway, thanks. Stress is just an inescapable part of being a working adult. Boss, I'll have a glass. Do you want something too? I'll put it on my tab.
Wine in a glass.
I know you're already keeping that guy. Another glass.
You've got
it. Really is. But perhaps getting... I would spend a... I suppose all of this...
Here's your drink.
Boss.
The meaning of... Anyway, I don't...
What do you... No worries. It's been bothering... Sounds great to me. I don't even... Huh? I mean, it's not like it's some kind of... My mother is also an architect. I've always adored her drawings, and when I was young, I used to sit next to her and watch her bring all kinds of buildings to life on paper. Perhaps. In fact, I have also seen my mother argue with her clients. Unfortunately, I've barely had any contact with her since she remarried and moved abroad. Even if I wanted to ask her about her ability to stay positive after an argument, it would seem rude to barge into her life again over something as trivial. I did remember something else, though. When my mother left, at the time, she even told me that it would be great if I could learn a few lessons from her life experience. I hadn't quite come to grips with my emotions, and didn't really have it in me to go through any sentimental... It's been a really long time. Now that so many years have passed, maybe I have finally developed the maturity I need to face those memories.
Beta testing कभी आया था क्या invitation?
Sorry, I've had too much to drink and wasn't
Karna hi
thinking
bhut gaya.
clearly. You're right. I should do these kinds of things. Speaking. Either way, thanks for reminding me that I can invite you to come along. Had I just gone back by... thinking too hard about the words is giving me a headache, so I'll just give it to you straight. If you want to stick around and see how this will turn out, you'll be sure to encounter some... All right, then let's head back together. Who knew that the day would come when I, too, would have... Let me see. I should have tidied up the place before I left the house this morning. Alhaitham shouldn't be home now either. Anyway, there's no more time for drinks.
टीमोस का नाम तो कुछ नहीं है हाँ वेंटी पे नहीं उड़ा रहा मैं नहीं जा रहा हाँ इधर भागूंगा पोलसेलर भी आ रही है ना
4.2 का फर्स्ट हाफ पे नवंबर 7 से बैनर है
Alhaitham isn't in, so feel free to...
मैं इधर ही जाऊंगा फॉर्चूनर का मैं क्या करूँगा हाइड्रो यूनिट लेके टीएलएन भी है
Oh,
हाइड्रो
nothing.
यूनिट पे ट्रैक
I
भी है
just didn't realize how much
उसका
time had
किट के बारे
passed.
में हम लोग कुछ नहीं
The
जानते
box is
इतना
pretty
हर
dusty,
अर्बन ब्रोकन
which
रहता है
means it's
वो
already
मालूम
been a
है
while since I've moved
चेक
into
करना
this
पड़ेगा
place.
क्या है करके
And I'm happy for her.
अरे कितने की पेज
I
होगी
hope she'll be able to
ये
find
आपका
happiness there.
45 46 की
She
पिटी
raised me all.
47
Anyway,
47
enough about that.
47 की पिटी
Let's see what I
हट भाई
packed into this box. What are all these things?
पेज पीपी हो गया
Oh, I
स्टैंडर्ड
remember
वाले तो भी
now.
कुछ दे दे भाई
Obviously, I wouldn't call it anything
कभी
special
तो
now,
चमकाया नहीं
but I
अलग
was less than
आज
5
कौन सा
years
दे
old
देगा
when I made this drawing.
ये
Now that I've said that out loud,
स्टैंडर्ड बनर में
I
मेरा
suppose
ये
I
कर
do
लेके
have
निकला है
criticism and
जिंदगी
self-doubt have always been a
खराब ही
part of
जिंदगी
the
रखनी
artistic process. Without criticism, there can be no improvement.
पेज हो गया स्टैंडर्ड
I
पे
admit
8
that
9
I may have
10
spent a
तो
little
10
too
के 50
long
की पिटी हो
questioning
गई इस पे भी
myself this time around. But as
तो
you
ये
know, the heart... Anyway, never mind. The
Wait
more I
until
talk
this
about it... My building blocks! It's been years since I've last seen these. When I was a kid, I used to stack them super high and could even Oh, and this blueprint. I made it by copying. I was super proud of myself when I finished it and put it in the same pile as my mother's sketch. Unfortunately, my mother didn't realize that I had put it there. When she had a meeting with a client the next day, she handed my blueprint to him by mistake. The client was completely confused by this new blueprint, but apparently he felt too It was only a few days later that he finally gathered up the courage to pay my mother a visit. He asked, "The door in this blueprint is even..." My mother took me with her to personally apologize to the client. She didn't scold me about it in private, though. Instead, she went over all the steps required to draw a good blueprint and was very patient throughout the whole process. Let's see. Is there anything else left in this box? This is my mother's notebook. When I was a child, I used to be super fascinated by this notebook and always pestered my mother to let me read it. After asking her a few times, she... Wonder why she didn't take this notebook with her. Did she leave it to me?
एक सेकंड हेलो
If only I
अच्छा राइट
could.
इसलिए अभी नेक्स्ट पे
I never managed to guess the past.
anyway
Hey, it's not a matter of time, it's a matter of
लेकिन इसका नेम
inspiration.
कार्ड पहले क्यों आ गया
That's what we need to guess the
किसका नेम
password.
कार्ड आपकी अभी
राइट
अपडेट है ना अभी स्टेलर यूनिट भी ये हो रहा है ना अपग्रेड हो रहा है अगर तो 2 हफ्ते ही ऑफलाइन रहेगा ना तो तेरा स्टार्ट हो जाएगा करके
Who knows? Maybe this time something will click in my head, and the answer will just present.
ठीक है अभी
I
की
can tell
रिवॉर्ड
what you were
भी तो हो
thinking.
गया
You've
अलग से
tried
अगले
my
जन्म में
name,
लूंगा
my
भी
father's name, my mother's name. I've even tried
Judgment.
stuff like "Love you, Kave,"
Okay.
"Take
ये तो
care,"
होगा नहीं
and "Yours." I wouldn't try
परमानेंट
that
तो है ही
route
नहीं
again. I have a hunch that it won't be that
लेने
simple. So we could find someone who was close to my mother and see if they might know anything? My mother was never really the one to be social. My father was the one with more friends. But let me think. Is there still someone at the academia? You've never really heard of her? She's a famous Kasharwar scholar, and Professor Zaha Hadi published many works during her career. So she's older now and is no longer teaching at the academia. Let's go take a look. We might run into her if we're lucky.
Wriotheseley और वेंटी दोनों पुल करना है यार हद तक
What am I supposed to do now? Forget it. I'll just head back.
Tainari, what are you doing?
Oh, it's you. Good to finally see you again. I came into the city but as soon as I got here, I noticed someone banging on Cyrus's door.
Wriotheseley
You've
क्यों
all
करना
heard
तो
of
स्टैंडर्ड में
Cyrus,
आएगा ना
right? I was thinking about
क्या
going
हुआ?
over to ask what's
Wriotheseley तो
happening.
स्टैंडर्ड पे आएगा ना
That granny
नहीं
over
आएगा
there
वो
may
फीचर्ड
appear old
कैरेक्टर
and
हो गया
frail, but her vocal cords certainly
फीचर्ड मतलब
स्टैंडर्ड पे नहीं आएगा एक्सक्लूसिव कैरेक्टर
Yeah,
अच्छा अब
she's
एक्सक्लूसिव
just
पे हो
over
गया
there. You can go check out the
सब लोग
situation
पहले बोल
yourselves
रहे थे
in a
स्टैंडर्ड
moment.
पे आएगा करके बट अभी नहीं है स्टैंडर्ड पे पता नहीं अभी कोई आएगा कि नहीं
I had a
हाँ
quick
कि
trip
हर
to-
नेशन से आए हैं हाँ नीना जुमा को छोड़ के
Really?
ना
You
सुमा
wanna
में
pass
कौन
out by the
आया
road
सुमा में
and
कोई नहीं
get run over by a
तुम से आया ही कौन है
something
कोई
like
नहीं
some mindless
सीधा
fungus?
सुमेरो पे आया था
मेरे पे जाकर तो एक एक पैच छोड़ छोड़ के हो रहा है ऐसा लग रहा है ये क्या तो रीजन
सुमेरो पे 2 आया था एक टाइनरी आया था और एक दिया आया
And you,
Yeah,
traveler? You didn't try to
कितना
stop
पैच
him?
छोड़ दिए थे ना ये लोग इनाजुमा के
You
पैच
look like a wreck,
चलिए
Kaveh.
इनाजुमा का रिकवर करने के लिए एक
You
डाल
know
दिया
what?
एक्स्ट्रा
आएगा
I'm
एक और
hosting a
आएगा
meal
कुछ
at
तो
Hardistia tomorrow.
हाँ हो
Huh?
सकता है
Oh, I had no idea.
All right. Then I'll plan on reserving 2 seats for you. I'll be heading back to Gandharvaville for now. I have a feeling that argument over there is going to continue for quite some time.
Granny who lives nearby.
Ha! So, plan on keeping yourself locked? My tomato was growing so well.
I already told you I had not. You'd have to be awfully green. You see, the word green here can.
Enough nonsense. Just.
You're out of your mind. If I've actually done something wrong.
Oh, why you?
Professor Zahahadi?
And who are you? Oh, Kaveh. Fancy seeing. How long has it been? Come on, get over here and let the professor.
Professor.
It's no big deal, really. A few of us old scholars got bored in our retirement and decided to put together a vegetable grow. Which brings us to our current predicament.
Hey, don't try to defame me in front of the kids. If we're airing out each other's dirty laundry now, then why don't we talk about you sneaking into Janat's garden the other night?
Ahem. Lucky for you, seeing these youngsters come to pay their respects today. Come on, let's go. We'll take.
Yes, of course.
Is Faranak still doing well?
Yes, as far as I know. She left for Fontaine some time ago and started a new life for herself. She's still doing work related to architecture.
Ah, yes.
No, not at all. She's already.
That's good to hear. Your mother did struggle quite a bit those few years. Sometimes I wonder if things were harder for her because she was so beautiful. People were always drawn to her beauty first, only to realize she had a sensitive and she was still quite young when she first joined my class as a student. Beautiful and radiant with her golden hair, yet quiet and single-minded. She seemed like a lass from some aristocratic house who was seeing the outside world for the first time. She had to make a lot of drastic changes in her life to raise you on her own. Even during her time in the academia, she was a thorough perfectionist. If she was unsatisfied with something she had made, she'd insist on redoing it. Even she had many admirers, and they'd always fill up the first few rows of seats, hoping they could get closer to her sitting in the first row. If it were any of my other classes, you'd have found nobody sitting. But every time I saw her, she was always in that same rigid pose. She'd have one hand on her forehead with the other clutching her pencil. Her eyebrows would be knitted in a frown as she concentrated on the blueprint in front of her.
I'm sure she had many difficult moments in her life. How did she cope with the stress?
I'm not too sure. She never talked about such things. I do remember one time, though, when she got into a heated argument with a friend. She said, "True art cannot be understood, but as an artist, I wish some people could understand it." If you ask me, that's probably the greatest source of pain for geniuses of their craft. It's extremely hard for them to...
So that's how it is. I wonder if the password could be...
What are you trying?
My mother left her notebook to me, but it has a password and I haven't figured out what it is yet. I'm trying to learn more about her so I'd have a better chance at cracking the code. Thank you for all that you told us.
It's the least I can do. Talking to youngsters like yourself, your personalities are quite alike, too. I've taught a lot of students over my career, and in my experience, very few genius architects of Kasharawar, they would know exactly what they want to. Some clients would choose to respect the architect's vision, or when Faranak first graduated, she was getting into arguments with her clients nearly every single day.
I see, but could he?
No, I think they were probably beyond him, too. But despite that, he still stayed next to her, listening. Faranak had many admirers, but she ended up choosing your father.
So instead of understanding, Perhaps all we need is... Huh. It worked.
Oh, was that the right password?
Yes!
Then you should be on your way, child. Being the awkward person that she is, I suppose there were many things that If you're ever in a mood to chat again, just come and find me here. You're always...
Thank you so much, Professor.
There's no need to be so formal.
I wonder what my mother could have written about.
They all say Zaha Hadid's class is the toughest, but I think it's actually not too bad. On the other hand, though, structural mechanics is definitely a pain, no matter how you try to approach it. I doubled down and managed to get through it in the end. I met someone special. At first, I didn't think much of him, but now, I feel very happy whenever I get to spend time with him. We decided to name our son Kaveh. I don't think a younger me would have ever imagined forming such an intimate bond with another person. Back then, I lived only in the shadow of myself, as well as that of the dream in my heart. The bad news came. And even though it's been several days now, I still can't bring myself to come to terms with what happened. My eyes are so swollen it's hard to see. What if they're all lying to me? And this... But I have to face reality. I still have someone to take care of. No matter what happens, I'll do my best to raise my son on my own.
Huh? Is this a drawing? Seems like it was done by my mother. This blonde man was probably my father. But who are the other people in the picture? From the dates in the notebook, she probably drew this more than 30 years ago. Maybe we were thinking too much.
Oh, the one who invited us to the gathering is a talkative woman. Including us, 3 couples showed up. There was also... The talkative woman introduced everyone to each other. She spoke really quickly, so I couldn't quite catch everything she said. But I also didn't feel like asking her to... My husband seems to be friends with the man with long ears. I couldn't really join their conversation, so I've resigned myself to sitting in a corner and drawing. I don't think I'd be able to become friends with any of these people. That man is certainly very handsome, but he would constantly alternate between disjointed and serious ways of talking. His wife is a bit more bare. We were not acquainted with each other to begin with. And I doubt we'll see each other again after this gathering. The ambiance of this gathering is surprisingly pleasant, however. Talking to people can allow us to find... Maybe my son will also partake in these gatherings in the future. I hope he'll be able to make many...
Who would have thought my mother used to attend that kind of thing? It seems she was only good at talking about her own work, and found it difficult to join into other conversations. As a result, there's more written on the back.
Kaveh. I was both overjoyed and distressed when I learned of your decision to continue your studies in Kasharwar. You are very talented, and I am confident that you will become an architect of much acclaim. However, the more talented you are as an artist, the more misery and anguish you may encounter. No one will be able to help you during your journey as an artist.
Hello.
But outside of your life as a creator,
क्या हुआ आदि
you
आया
can
नीचे भी
learn to form connections
आके
with
चला
other
गया।
people and
भाई
enjoy
यहाँ पे
many
बारिश
other
हुई
things in life.
इतनी तेज बारिश हुई पेड़ गिर
It's
गया
the
खंबे
only
में
way to alleviate your suffering. Whenever you
अब
feel
जाके
down,
हुआ अब जाके लाइट
seek
आई
out a friend to sit and have a chat.
भाई
You can accumulate joy and fulfillment by
आज
spending
का क्या
time with
मिशन
them.
था मेरा
The positive
I'm
feelings you
streaming.
gain will get you through the long
करा नहीं अभी
and
तक
कर रहा
difficult
है
years.
1 घंटे के ऊपर गया।
Never forget that
हो गया
companionship is
भाई
the
ये
most
YouTube क्या
important
नशेड़ी है
thing
भाई
of all.
नोटिफिकेशन भेजता ही नहीं है
That's the answer she prepared
और
for me.
नोटिफिकेशन बेल ऑन है
She really thought long and hard about me and my future. Well, now that I've read her words, do you think I should accept Tainari's invite and attend that dinner at Pardis Di? The thought
क्या
definitely
करे
crossed my
अच्छा
mind.
ठीक
Although
है
it'd be nice to get together
हैंग
with
आउट
friends and chat the night away, I don't want to bring down other people's moods because I'm sad. Besides, don't most people hate the feeling of seeing their friends troubled and being unable to help? And what's worse, nearly all of my problems can
कितना
be
घंटा
easily
लगता है कि
resolved with
हैंग
some
आउट करने में?
encouraging
पता
words
नहीं,
or
1 घंटे के तो
gesture.
ऊपर हो गया.
And don't
सारे
forget,
पूरे
I'm
खत्म करने में
also
कितना लगता है?
older than all of them.
पूरा 1
As
to
their senior,
एक
I should
हैंगआउट
appear
का
to be
बोल
a
रहा है
bit
या
more
फिर सभी
responsible.
हैंगआउट को मिलके बोल रहा
सब मिला के
है? दिन लगेगा.
6 होते हैं नहीं?
दिन लगेगा.
You're not wrong, but I keep feeling like I haven't... Wait, do you mean it? You're not making... I've gotten so
आज
used to
मेरा सब नोटी
sarcasm
का
that I
कमीशन
can't
है
tell what's
रॉकेट बना
genuine
के
or a
जाना.
compliment anymore. Wait, by fun... You know what? I'm not going to overthink it. I'll see you tomorrow at Pardistia.
17 घंटे क्या 18 घंटे हो गए मुझे गेम खेलते हुए. हाँ 3:30 बजे. ना भाई बहुत गंदी टाइमिंग है. बीबीए बीकॉम डिजाइनिंग 18. हमारा कहाँ है? बीकॉम 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 बीबीए बीसीए बीबीए एलएलबी बीएससी बीसीए बी डिजाइनिंग बीकॉम.
क्या हो गया?
नहीं
क्या
फर्स्ट
क्या
ईयर
बोल
नहीं
रहा है?
सेकंड ईयर है. अच्छा और भी है. अरे वो है ना देश से है ना.
वो क्या होता
वो
है?
देखो BCS 307. ओके 1:30 to 3 बजे. कल 18 है ना? परसों है 18.
कल 17.
Alhaitham also got my invite, right? Will he be coming to join us?
That guy? He's never been a
वेबसाइट
fan
पे
of
आपकी मर
social
गई होगी अब.
gatherings.
मुझे पता है.
I wouldn't get my hopes up if I were you.
Are you sure? All right then. I guess we won't wait for him.
Yeah, let's go.
395.
I mean, maybe we should give him a little more time. We can keep chatting for a while longer.
Oh, sure.
You still haven't told me, what's the occasion for getting us together here at Pardistia?
We're celebrating the end of the first phase of Kale's studies. I wanted to thank you all for the help you've given her along the way.
Then where's Kale?
She said she wanted to show everyone a bit of what she's learned, so she's still doing some last-minute prep at home. She'll be here shortly. Anyway, let's get started. To tell you the truth, I'm actually not so confident that the second phase will go as well as the first. The curriculum will become a lot more involved, and I'm worried that she won't be able to get through all of it. I was hoping we could brainstorm about it together before she gets here.
I knew this wouldn't be just a simple free dinner. Is that why you also invited Alhaitham?
Yes, I thought it would be good if we could all put our heads together. Anyway, let's take a quick trip down memory lane. What did you guys do when you ran into a problem that you didn't know how to solve? Or got assigned a project that you knew you weren't going to finish on time?
Never happened to me.
I'd just pull another all-nighter.
You two are hopeless. Does anyone have a more useful answer to the question?
Ooh, that's a good point. Confidence is the most important thing. Once you lose your sense of confidence, it'll become all but impossible to find the motivation to study.
This could be a potential direction. I have already redesigned the literacy curriculum, and I was originally hoping to ask Alhaitham for his opinion.
It's very simple. Instead of focusing on the amount of material you would like to teach, focus on the amount the student would be able to remember.
Wow, you actually showed up. I could
That's
probably count the number of times you've actually come to gatherings like this on just one hand.
It's still more than the number of times you've managed to get a proposal approved on the first try.
As long as you're still
3
aware.
निकॉन
So,
10 टाइटेनियम
what made the
1
difference this time?
फायरिंग किट
You looking to
और
drink your
क्या है
sorrows
ये?
away with some friends?
That's
दो
your
रूबी.
purpose for being here, not mine. Don't project your ways of thinking onto me.
निकोल के लिए मेरे को वहाँ जाना
reason
पड़ेगा.
you came is to help Tainari with his
रूबी के लिए तो
brainstorming?
Precisely. Kale
मतलब
will have a long road in front of her.
I guess
just to get
लावा
one
जो
thing
जानो
clear,
best
even
idea
if
है ना.
Kale manages to make her way to the academia, we cannot let her enroll in her avatat. Kasharwar is obviously the best choice for her. She's been a trainee forest ranger for so long, she'll definitely be good with her hands.
What are you saying? Spontamad is the better choice. It's where I graduated from, after all.
Then what about Amorta? That's the darshan her master actually graduated from.
There are only 2 other darshans left. We might as well select all of them on her enrollment application.
I'm trying to have a serious discussion here. Traveler, you aren't associated with any of the 6 darshans. In your opinion, which darshan would be the best choice for Kale?
Well said.
Agreed.
Nico,
And
I
my
guess
goal
मेरे
in
पास एक
inviting
ही
you
है
here
Nico
was
इसलिए
to gather
Nico
some
को जाना
thoughts on
पड़ेगा
the execution of this second phase.
Phase 2 far exceeds Phase 1 in both curriculum complexity and
एक
speed of
Nico
instruction.
एक
I hope Kale has prepared herself for
only
what is
one I
coming.
guess.
Hey, what are you thinking now? Please don't tell me you're planning on lending her those abstruse books from your home library.
Actually, I was thinking about lending her a professions guide.
I'll make sure to write, "Don't become an architect" on the front page of that.
हाँ भाई तू जा भाई जाने से पहले हमको
You're right. I can't deny that.
Is there another phase after Phase 2? What's the ultimate goal of all of this? Are we trying to prepare her for a job in the academia?
We don't need to think that far ahead. Hold that thought, though. I think my vegetables are done.
I'm telling you, that client had no idea what he was talking about. No matter what I
ये
did,
Nico
he had
एक काम
something.
करता
Have
हूँ
you
वहाँ से
considered
नीचे जाके
finding another client?
टेलीपोर्ट होके आऊँगा
They're
जाके
all the same.
पहले
I haven't had a good night's sleep for
रूबी ढूंढना
months
पड़ेगा
now. Who do they think they are, ordering me to alter my design over and over again?
It's too late now to change careers. You might as
एक
well try to find
मिनट
some
यार
joy in the
कैमरा है
pain.
वहाँ से
Besides, you'll be getting up in the middle of the night to make edits to your own design even when the client doesn't request it.
कैमरा
No.
Cheer up, Kaveh. I'll tell you a new joke.
We'll save that for the end.
कैमरा से
Simo.
अगर
You
जाओ
can keep it to
कैमरा की
yourself.
तरफ से रास्ता है लॉस्ट रिवर
Whatever. I'm
I
not
guess
going.
लॉस्ट रिवर जाके प्लेटिनम इंगट चाहिए मेरे को प्लेटिनम की वो मशीन मेरे को लेके जानी ही पड़ेगी ड्रिल करने प्लेटिनम बहुत चाहिए
Alhaitham isn't in. Oh, nothing. I just didn't realize how much time had passed. I'm happy for her. Anyway, enough about that. Let's see what I packed into this box. What are all these things? Oh, obviously I... Now that I've said that out loud, criticism, I admit that my...
what are
my
Ruby?
super... Unfortunately, it was only a few days later
हो गया
that
मेरा
my mother took... She didn't scold... Let's see, is there anything else left in
एक
this
रूबी
box?
हो दो रूबी हो गए अब मेरे को जाना है
When I was a child...
टाइटनियम
Wonder...
बहुत टाइटनियम
If
इंगट
only I
निकल
could
रहा
pay. It's not... Who knows? Maybe this time some... I
कोई
can
ना
tell what
चल
you were
चल
thinking. I've tried mine. Have even tried...
वो तो मैं दुमले
Yeah, you're right. Everyone's life journey. I just got an idea, though. If I want to rekindle the... What do you think?
रोली तो बोल जाओ
I'm glad you...
तो किना ताला किना ना
से हेलो ग्राउंड से म्यूट कर दो
ओके ओके सॉरी
all the places in the academia. Who doesn't miss their time at the academia? I created many designs that if the academia... Oh, here, this is a great example. This book, History of Ancient Sumeru Architecture, contains some analysis that I did many years ago. Huh? Why is Alhatham's handwriting also in here? When did he ever read this book? I guess it's probably from when we worked on that research project together. Anyway, he probably never cared to tell you this, but the House of Dana is where Alhatham and I first met. I came here to do my homework, and saw him sitting by himself next to that row of bookshelves. A group of Haravatat scholars were chatting near him, but he looked as if he was too lazy to join them. There was a pretty stark difference between him and all the rest of them. It was my fault for feeling bad for him. I thought he must have gotten into some kind of trouble and went over to ask if he needed anything, not realizing that...
Not realizing that you were in fact the one in a whole heap of trouble?
Alhatham? Why are you here?
The House of Dana is a public space. Anyone can come here, no?
But shouldn't you be at the records room at this hour? You're not here to watch me make a fool of myself, are you?
You think I would derive amusement from watching you fall into depression over your life's various troubles? If that's the case, then I suppose I must have been entertaining myself for years. I came here to pick up a few files. If your voice hadn't managed to get through my soundproof earpieces, I probably wouldn't have noticed you.
All right. I admit I was probably overreacting just now. Probably not when he's right here with us. As his senior,
There was nothing embarrassing or shameful. When I was still a student at the academia, I once collaborated with Kaveh on a research project. A collaboration is usually beneficial for all parties, but due to issues with our personalities, we ended up going our separate ways before completing the project. We had a number of differences, and they remain unresolved even today. But there's no point going into that right now. The more important question is, why are you at the House of Dana?
As a senior scholar, isn't it my responsibility to offer my friend a quick tour and
I see. Then let me guess. Your next stop will be the pavilions around Razan Garden? Our famed architect sure loves showing off that corner to all his friends. Oh, and Kaveh, a lot of the books you annotated have been moved to the innermost section of that bookshelf over there. You'll have to dig them out yourself if you need.
Huh? But why would you know that? Don't tell me you finally had an epiphany and realized that there's great virtue in respect.
Sure, if that will give you some self-confidence. Leave any words of thanks you may have to the ex-Grand Conservator. The last time he was here, he was complaining that he had received reports from current students. The main grievance being that the annotations are too long and difficult to read. As a result, the books you annotated have been moved to the back shelves.
What? But all of my annotations were extremely important. Instead of reporting me, they should have been thanking me for my service. The notes that I took, they couldn't have asked for a better analysis of those books. Okay, just you wait. I'm going to fix this right now. I'll dig all the books out and return them to the proper shelves.
Oh, we'll wait. Anyway, you were about to say he's feeling a bit down? Put through the ringer. What an interesting phrase. I assume he used those exact words himself? He probably did suffer quite a bit, that's true. He always spends a lot of time editing his proposals, with the goal of satisfying as many of the client's preferences as possible. But the satisfaction of one client will not translate to general satisfaction with his work. Many problems in life can only be solved by a fundamental change of attitude. As the leading genius of Kshahrewar, Kaveh should have both the right and the confidence to reject any unreasonable demand. There are plenty of architects in Sumeru who are inferior to him in skill, yet far more irascible in temperament. What's more, There are plenty of people who look up to such individuals as paragons of staying true to one's principles. Clearly, his predicament is inevitable, since he holds other people's feelings as more important than his own. Of course, each person is different, and we should respect the paths that they have chosen for themselves. Admonitions will serve no purpose. People tend to succumb to familiar pitfalls, and this is especially true for those who believe it's their duty to carry more burdens on their...
Looks like you were having an enjoyable chat while I was gone. Were you talking?
What do you think?
What else is there to talk about? Surely no one would be interested in talking about the files that you were browsing through. Anyway, you should take a look at this. Look at this comment on page 82. Dear Kaveh, thank you so much for annotating this book in such detail. It was a great help to... See that? Now that's how a student should treat...
And it looks like you're already in a much better mood now. It really doesn't take much to make you happy, huh?
Me? Happy? I'm mocking that retired blockhead for being so full of himself. He understands nothing about the true beauty of architecture. When I can find some time, I'll have a serious talk with him about making sure these books are put where they belong.
Why don't you just move all the books yourself? It's not like he hasn't cursed you out before. What was that nickname he gave you while you were in the academia? The Urchin of Kasharwa? Kaveh had a habit of scribbling and writing in all kinds...
Hey! You didn't need to bring that up. At least not when I'm still Oh, actually, I also found a really old sketch in one of the books over there. See? Doesn't it remind you of something? Huh?
Don't ask me. This is the time you specifically put aside to brag about yourself. Feel free to hoard all the spotlight you...
In that case, allow me to explain. Although this sketch is a...
We can also plainly see that the designer was a huge fan of this project. It's the project he loves to talk about the most, second to the Palace of Alcazarzare.
If I don't keep bringing up the neat projects that I've done, how would anyone know that I was the one? There shouldn't be any complaints about Port Ormos. If I remember correctly, the construction process was very smooth.
There are indeed no records of any complaints.
See? What? Come on. Let's take a stroll through Port Ormos next. I'll tell you all.
No need. It's almost time to clock out for the day, and I don't intend on bringing any unfinished work home.
Suit yourself. It's not like you know how to appreciate artistry. Port Ormos. No, I didn't design any one specific building. Most of my work here concerned structural run. Port Ormos had already existed since I was still a young child. It wasn't as large as it is now, though. It only came to the Arch Bridge over there, for example. That was one of my designs. When I was first tasked with the project, I decided to reference the growth patterns of nearby trees to split Port Ormos into two levels. We ran into a lot of issues during construction, but thankfully, residents can now behold all the ships entering and leaving the harbor from the vantage point of the bridge, while visitors can recognize the site of Port Ormos from a long ways away. I was still young and new to the trade back then. I could hardly believe that an idea in my head could become reality and remain the true cornerstone of the creative process. Once built, a building will continue to stand. Countless people will see it, and countless more will step inside. You think so? I'm glad to hear that. But even with my budget was tight, and I was unable to use the higher quality timber I had originally. Us creative types know better than anyone. Yeah, you're right. We've spent long enough here. There's still one last place I want to go. Great. Most of my projects over the last... This is a rare opportunity, so if you ever feel down, maybe you'll be able to go there and feel...
Yeah, did you use for the
Who would
thumbnail?
have thought that so many primal
Bro, even I don't
constructs
know.
could have congregated here while I was gone?
But it Seems good.
We won't be able
I
to sit and
guess.
talk peacefully with these guys around. Let's clear the area. Silence!
Let's get it on!
Isn't this place great? I often come here to clear my mind when I'm dealing with a difficult situation. You know what I mean. Everyone finds themselves in frustrating situations once. Just take me as an example. My family life got shaken up
Looks
quite a
like
bit when I
someone
was
who
young.
doesn't know
I
Genshin and
struggled
tried
in
to make
school,
Venti and Rice.
and I got into. Although I'll hate
Do you
them,
think
thinks
they
that
look
it's
like
because of
Venti
my
and Rice?
personality
Yeah.
that I continue to
Even
live
I
in the
don't know
shadow of
whom
the
they look
past.
like.
You could
I
probably
just searched
say I
some
followed in the path
AI
of my mother.
Genshin. I got
Like
something.
her, I've gained a name for myself as an
I
architect.
did it.
Built something that's seen as my magnum opus.
Yes,
and
the
found
color
many
scheme.
projects that
Okay.
others have entrusted
At least
to me
some
to finish.
resembles.
Life is too boring when you live with no enthusiasm and passion.
Tomorrow is the banner, right? I
Only
may be
those who
pulling for
believe in
both
the
Venti and
inherent
Rice.
meaning of it can capture the small nuance. Of course, I will concede that loving something also
Feel free
means
to join
taking it to
tomorrow.
heart. So to an extent, caring is also a... But still, isn't this place beautiful? Despite the erosion from the winds and changing seasons, you can still perceive its past beauty and glory. With different landforms come different architectural styles. The desert's history has left it with few records regarding its buildings, so I often visit the desert to investigate things in person. The site here has moved me ever since the first time I laid my
I got
eyes on
Homa,
it.
Newbie
I
weapon,
told
and
myself that
Newbie.
one day, I would also be able to
And
create
Futa
buildings
and
that
all
move
140.
others.
Oh, that's good for you. I just pulled for Nuvolite and his weapon. I don't want Huta right now. I might be
My
pulling
pain will
later.
one day fade into nothing. They are far more valuable than most materialistic things, and far more durable than human
I already
flesh.
have Huta now. She's C1.
As
Oh,
long as
that's
there
good for
remain
you.
souls in the world who can decipher the meaning behind. If you were to ask
C1
me what
Huta
art is,
makes a great asset for
that
your team.
would be my
Just in
answer.
Genshin, it happened on stream. Oh, nice.
You think so? Remember that question I brought up before? The one about whether I should see art as a divine gift of
20 put
inspiration
off.
from the gods, or as a product of my own existential struggle.
Yeah, it happens most of the time.
I still haven't found an answer
Don't
to
know,
that
but
yet.
suddenly there
But
it
if art
is.
wasn't inherently paradoxical and enigmatic, then people probably wouldn't be drawn to it. Those who pursue art will be unable to avoid the pain that it naturally
Can't
brings.
really, yeah, sure. Why not?
Will often be. I'll try gathering my thoughts again once I've found a way to define art in the first place. In any case, thank you so much for listening to everything I had to say.
どうもありがとう。どういたしまして。80. One second. Zero eight. Okay. Ivan C2 Raiden. I didn't expect to have. Yeah, I know. I can talk Japanese. Just a little bit though. $68. Wait a second. Okay. 68 over 270. You're not going for this hunter set? I mean, this is also good. Crimson. That's a good stance. IS-20 fragile resin. Not even a single hunter piece. Even I haven't put him on the showcase yet. You know, the crit rate might get some work here. She only crits at almost what? On a single rotation, she might crit 4 to 5 times. Am I right? With this much crit rate. The aim is good. 61, 150. That's good. Attack sense or electric damage go to do. I was with 100% CR. Our crit rate is. Oh, you use reverse melt rosary, huh?
Silly.
Wanderer with this ratio. 70. Yeah, that's good. Are you using an attack sense? You know, you could probably go for an EM sense since you're using melt gun, right? Or you used it on freeze comp also. The crit rate could be much higher. Ganyu plus Nahida 344. Yeah. Oh, you use burning Ganyu. Huh. Damn shout though. ER is okay, but okay, you can get away with that. It's good. Wait a second. The defense could be higher, no? Even with Husk, it can't go higher. At 2.4, it can reach at least. Go, I know that. The Ayaka is good, but even I'm thinking of changing my Ayaka because I don't want to use a crit damage circlet on her. I want to use an attack circlet on her. Her account is good. One part remaining, huh? I use attack circlet. I show only one cause. People cry, but why don't you see the circlet? Nah, since you have Miss Splitter, you don't need that much of an crit damage, you know. I'll probably change this on an attack circlet. I don't have it right now. But I'll change it on attack circlet because it gives more benefit. I know people cry, but yeah, sure. Those who know, they will obviously brag about it, but those who don't know, you could say so.
Taking this commission was truly the worst decision ever. Actually, while we're on that, what are you doing? Stress is just an inescapable part of being a working adult. Boss, do you want something too? I'll put it on my tab.
Wine in a glass.
I know you're already keeping a secret. That guy, though. Another glass.
You've got it.
It really is, but perhaps I would spend a lot of. I suppose all of this makes.
Here's your drink.
Boss?
The meaning of. Anyway, I don't.
What do you think? Yes, art shouldn't be. Let's say that I built a house. The problem is that it can. Sounds great. A different career. I think I've heard a saying somewhere before. It's just a saying, of course, but and if I want to make Mora, I should finish. Hold on. I just remembered that I used to have a senior class. Maybe I'll be able to get some advice from him.
Don't be scared.
Hello, bro. What's up?
Ah, Kave, it's you. It's been a while. What have you been up to recently?
Yeah, it's been a long time, Alkami. Things haven't changed much for me. I'm still taking private commissions for all kinds of projects.
I heard that you were the genius behind the Palace of Alcazazare. I bet you're all set for Mora after a project of that size.
Well, it's hard to make a profit from every project, you know?
Hard to make a profit? You've got to be joking. I've never met an architect who didn't make a profit from a project. Unless the client fled before they paid the commission fee in full. But that doesn't sound right either. Doesn't Dory have a pretty decent reputation in our local business circles?
Well, about that. I mean, it was...
I understand. Either way, doing one project after another sure gets exhausting over the years, huh? I mean, I obviously never had your reputation to live up to. That must have been stressful. But I'm sure we've faced all the same problems. Trying to keep your clients in a good mood while you're trying to stop them from micromanaging things they don't know the first thing about. Not exactly. My work is still closely related to architecture. Judging from the look on your face, you're still strapped for Mora. That's quite unfortunate. You're the most artistically gifted graduate the Kasharawar Darshan has seen in decades. With that said, us Kasharawar grads should still look out for each other.
Are you serious? But something like that has got to be some kind of top-level business secret. Besides, I don't want to just take something.
Oh, you're too kind. This is just a simple tip. Even if I didn't bring it up, I'm sure you'd hear it from the others. So compared to the classes taught by those old fossils at the academia, unlike the academia, I won't turn down anyone who's interested. Rich, it just so happens that I'm still looking for a few more instructors. So, regardless of the pay, I can already guarantee that it'll be far more comfortable than working...
So you want me to join you as an instructor? What do you think, Traveler?
Then it's a deal.
Yes, it's a deal.
Like I said, there's no... As for the pay, how about we start at 300,000 Mora per lecture?
300,000? Are you serious?
It would seem that you're still oblivious to your own economic worth. 300,000 is also just the base. I have to go make some preparations now.
I was never particularly close with Alkami when we were in school. Who would have thought that? I've hosted free lectures before, but this would be my first time. Thanks so much. I think I will be able to relax a bit more with a friend in the audience. Now, what should I talk about tomorrow? All right, let's meet here again tomorrow morning. I should hurry home.
Play the waiting game.
I was up last night preparing for the lecture, but I ended up getting so excited that I couldn't fall asleep.
Lesson plan? But the training center has already developed its own set of teaching materials. Instead of using your own plan, you can just use what we have here. Of course, you're always welcome to work in some of your own content to add some fun and flavor. Sure. It's almost time for the lecture to start.
Huh. So you've already developed your own set of teaching materials. Seems like I won't need the stuff I've prepared after all. Anyway, shouldn't be a problem. I'll just go ahead and use your materials. There's something else I want to ask, though. This isn't going to be a large class, is it?
No need to stress. There are 14 classes at my training center. Out of all of them, the first class has
20 people, huh?
Oh, and one last thing. In the interest of keeping a quiet learning space, I'm sorry to say this, but your friend will have to wait outside.
Sorry about that.
Hey there. Can I help you? Oh, Alkami? I heard he earned a fortune working as a renowned architect. If the tuition wasn't sky high.
Did you hear? Alkami.
I bet that'll boost his enrollment.
Really makes.
That's true, but you've got to admit, his for those who can't pass the.
Man,
All right, our class is over, so we can just chat for a bit.
No, you weren't scary at all, Mr. Cave.
Oh, don't get me started. I was trying to use Alkami's materials, so I flipped. Alkami may fool an amateur, but he can't fool anyone who's active in our profession. In my opinion, the most important skill of an architect is their ability to craft a design. There are tens of thousands of buildings in the world, as well as a countless number of architectural styles. The architects who can critically evaluate the quality and fit of different designs are those who can come up with great designs of their own. But you won't get any of that. All these students are doing in class is rote memorization of existing designs. They are learning nothing about the underlying principles. How can they expect to become real architects? When they're done with this class, all they'll become are dilettantes with a pitiful smattering of—
But, Mr. Cave, we didn't really understand what's the big deal anyway? It's not like we're looking to make some works of art.
You're studying architecture to make Mora?
Yeah! Why else would we be studying? My biggest dream is to become someone like Mr. Alkami. Once I...
In that case, I'm afraid you'll probably be disappointed.
But how? Mr. Alkami just told us last night that you made a killing. He also said that as long as we graduate from his class, it won't be long before I can put these miserable...
Come on.
But, Mr.
You... It's pointless trying to argue this with you right now. Let's go, Traveler. Let's hear about
What's wrong, Cave? You look quite flustered. Were the students not astute enough for your liking? I must implore you to go a bit easier on them.
Yeah, I'm mad at them. But I'm even more upset the students are all here hoping for a quick way to make money. But we both, if your client is unhappy, you can't break ground. And the longer a project goes, you know all of this just as well as I do. Why lie to them?
Look, Cave. You may be the light of Kashara. You may deny it all you want. But it's a fact that our clients care very little for the effort we pour into our designs.
I suppose...
Why should we cling on to a profession that's difficult and unrewarding, if it's near impossible to make money as an architect?
Wait, how does that make any sense? Aren't you just leading them into...
We are already stuck, my friend. The more people we can lead into this pit, and that's right. Making money as an architect is a slow and agonizing process. In comparison, none of the students will ever know, however. In their eyes, all of my income was earned during my years as an architect. It's easy for them to fall for my promise. After all, everyone wants to live the dream of being the person who can spend millions without batting an eye. The more students I get, the more money I earn. And the more real that dream becomes.
And then what? When that happens...
But that's just one. Oh, and also, I'm not even scared if they do come back and...
You... How can you sleep at night? I can't believe that I once saw you with...
And the same goes to you. Only fools will see art as revered and sacred. I urge you to think about it as the light of the Ksharowa. You've accumulated... Think it over, Kaveh.
I'm so mad. I feel a headache coming on. There's no... Of course. He is right about one thing. The most that they could accuse him of is false... Oh? Did you notice something else? Yeah. The rate he gave me was... If you're gambling everything on making it right, we're never going to get any information from the...
Oh, Mr. Kaveh?
Class finished a while ago.
I wanted to stay for a...
Of course they were. All the exam... It's a good thing that you could recognize them for their beauty. The...
Res?
Yes. And for most people, just being able to admire a building is enough. Going from admiration to assessment will take a lot of time and specialized knowledge.
Just as I thought.
I'm sorry.
I understand.
Hmm?
Sorry. I can't say anything more.
Don't listen to him. I am the... Why would I pull your leg? I can see you have some talent.
Then please, Mr. Alkami was the one who reached out to my parents. He told them. He told all.
How much did your
I think they...
And what was the end...
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, we need to find that merchant to confirm. Good idea.
We last saw him on the north shore of Port...
Well, it'd still be worth... We need to do...
Oh.
You're Faha...
Yes.
Alkami. My friend here wants to enroll...
Oh, sounds like his business...
Let me see...
Oof. You call that a bit short on money? Here you go.
And what if they won't be able to...
What do you mean, won't be able to pay it back? Once you graduate from and even if you were to run into some... It's hard work running a business. Anyway, there's no point in tying yourself in knots over the contract.
I just did some calculations in my head. Of course, the contract did a great job of trying to If you actually do the math, however, it's clear that the amount you need to pay on interest alone will amount to hundreds of thousands. Even my creditor doesn't dare to raise rates that high. Once a family signed on to a scheme...
What are you trying to say, huh? I figured something was off when too many people are sticking their noses where they don't...
Eremites? There are only a few of them, so they shouldn't pose...
Silence!
Look alive!
Who are you? I don't think we've done anything to...
Debt has the power to upend your whole life, but my debts are the culmination of many different factors. But these students, you sold the dreams of becoming an architect to the students as bait.
Ha! Everyone knows there's no... And if we're going to talk about...
Ha! People grow. Let's head back to... Sino? Didn't think I...
My vacation just ended not too long. I see. As it is highly likely that Alkami's also any funds we manage to recover from the...
That should still be enough. Anyway, thank you for your help.
It's no trouble. Just another day at work. Did you accept any?
He promised to pay me 300.
Hmm?
What do you mean, that's good?
I wouldn't have gone that far. But, had he insisted that you were also an active... Either way, though, I believe you are innocent.
Hey, what was that?
Never mind.
You're just messing with me.
Let's get back to business. If Alkami's case can be successfully resolved, you'll...
Huh. I didn't even know there was such a thing.
The reward will be given regardless of your personal motivations.
Fine.
Is there anything else?
I want to go back to the training center.
Sure.
All right, then I'll...
I have a few other things to take care of, so I'll be off for now.
That's to think, Alkami would... Still, it's a little ironic, but you could... How should I put it? The arguments are usually extremely frustrating. Alkami's suggestion would have... Every scholar has their own sense of pride. Just speaking for myself, though, if I stop devoting everything to my... At that point, any material... It's certainly not easy. My thanks again for being such a great help. All right, I'll see...
Would have guessed Mr. Alcon.
The training center is... Mr. Kave said we can keep working on our...
Only the best of the best can get...
Miss... Why? What? Huh?
Now, I'll keep instructing you. Oh, also, architecture is not... If you want to design safe building, and just as a heads up, all of this will be a huge step up from the superficial stuff you were learning before.
We'll try up...
All right, everyone, pack your stuff. You'll know once we get... This lighthouse has been around for... The point of today is not... I just want you to take a look at it and don't think about how you'd actually go about...
So, it can be...
Yep. As long as you think it'd look... In my experience, it's best to approach both the study and practice of architectural design. So at least for today, I hope this... What do you think?
आज के लिए इतना ही है मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट स्ट्रीम पे कल के स्ट्रीम पे हम पुल्स करेंगे राइजली और वेंटी के लिए मिलते हैं तभी तब तक के लिए बाय बाय टेक केयर